Yo guys, I'm back with another horror flick. Today, we're diving into a man in the dark. Rocky is a small-time thief, tired of her current life and ready to quit for good. But before walking away, she wants to pull off one last big score. She teams up with her boyfriend, Money, and Alex, a guy who's clearly into her. Their target? A blind veteran who supposedly lives alone. A little digging reveals that the man's daughter died in a car crash a few months ago, and he received a huge cash settlement from the driver, so the trio scouts out his place. Turns out, all the neighboring houses are empty, no neighbors, no patrols, perfect setup. They plan to strike that very night. As they're casing the place, a vicious dog lunges at their car. No matter how they try to scare it off, it won't leave. Then, a whistle comes from down the street and the dog immediately backs off. That's when they spot the blind man himself. He really is blind, which boosts their confidence. This job should be a breeze. That night, the plan went into motion. They tossed the dog a sausage laced with sedatives. Once the dog was knocked out, they hopped the fence and slipped into the backyard. Alex struggled with the back door lock, but no matter how hard he tried, it wouldn't budge. Money finds a basement hatch and tries to pry it open, but it's locked from the inside. Rocky notices a window with no bars. Opportunity knocks. Alex warns her it's risky, but Rocky doesn't back down. He hands her the alarm remote and says, "You've got 30 seconds to find the alarm and shut it off." Rocky smashes the window, slips inside, and starts hunting. She checks the living room, nothing. Moves on. Just as the alarm's about to blare, she finds the panel and disables it. Barely. She opens the door for the others, and they quietly remove their shoes to stay silent. They search the place but come up empty. Just to be sure, Money decided to use his homemade knockout gas to put the old man to sleep. But just as he opens it, the man sits up. Money held his breath. Had he been caught? Nope, the man only gets up to turn off the TV and lies back down. Money exhales and sneaks back downstairs, swaggering like he owns the place. Rocky tells him to keep it down. He says, "Relax. He's out cold." Then Rocky pointed to a locked steel door and told Money they'd searched the entire downstairs, nothing. So her guess? That's where the old man was hiding his cash. Money pulls out a crowbar and starts working the lock, but it won't budge. Alex asks if he has other tools. That's when Money pulls out a gun. Both Alex and Rocky are shocked. Money told them the target was a retired soldier and carrying a gun was the only way to stay safe. Alex fires back without a gun. "It's just burglary." With one, it's armed robbery. Totally different charge. Plus, if the old man catches them, he has every right to shoot. Alex tried to take Rocky with him, but she refused by shaking him off. Money says, "We've come this far. If you want to leave, be my guest." Alex was about to keep trying to talk Rocky out of it, but just then, Money raised his gun, aimed at the steel lock, and pulled the trigger without hesitation. Seeing what was happening, Alex turned on his heel and walked off. Rocky called after him, begging him to stay, but Alex didn't even look back. Just as he left and before Money could unlock the door, the old man's voice echoed through the room. The moment they saw the old man, they were so terrified they didn't dare make a sound. He slowly began walking toward them, and they cautiously stepped back. Money tried to play it off, saying he was drunk and had wandered in by mistake, and that he'd leave right away. But just then, the old man stepped on the broken iron lock wrecked earlier by Money. Realizing he'd been caught, Money stopped hiding it. He raised his gun and threatened the old man, telling him to go back to bed, but the old man didn't flinch. He kept walking toward Money, step by deliberate step. Thinking the old man didn't realize he had a gun, Money fired a shot into the air to scare him off. Before he could even react, the old man lunged, snatched the gun from Money's hand, and shot him dead. Rocky clamped a hand over her mouth, too terrified to breathe. Seeing her boyfriend lying dead on the floor, she slowly backed away into another room. Once inside, she collapsed to the ground, muffling her sobs with both hands, devastated she hadn't listened to Alex. Meanwhile, outside, Alex heard the gunshot. Alarmed, he stopped in his tracks. Worried about Rocky, he turned back. As soon as he stepped inside, he brushed right past the old man. At that moment, the old man stepped on shards of glass and noticed the broken window. Realizing someone else might still be in the house, he locked the door behind him, then grabbed a wooden plank and boarded up the window. Finally, he entered the room where Rocky was hiding. He pulled away a wooden panel, revealing a hidden safe. He keyed in the combination, reached inside, and after feeling the cash was still there, he let out a breath of relief. Then, without a word, He shut the safe and went off to deal with the body. What he didn't know was, Rocky had seen the safe's combination. Just as the old man left, Alex walked in. Seeing that money was already dead, he told Rocky they had to call the cops. Come clean, that was their only shot at staying alive. But Rocky cut him off. She walked straight to the safe, punched in the code, and opened it. The pile of cash inside was way more than either of them had imagined. They were stunned. Without saying a word, Rocky started stuffing the cash into her backpack. Only after making sure it was all in did she shut the safe. Then she turned to Alex, and the two of them began figuring out how to escape. Alex told her the windows had been boarded up by the old man. Their only way out now was through the basement door. The two of them carefully made their way into the living room. Just as they were nearing the basement entrance, the door creaked open. The old man stepped out. They froze, holding their breath. Luckily, he didn't see them. He headed straight for Money's body, pulled out a large plastic bag, and started slipping it over his head. Just as he was about to drag the body away, Alex took a step back and the wooden floor let out a loud creak. The old man whipped around, gun in hand. "Who's there?" he barked. Rocky and Alex were too terrified to make a sound. Hearing no response, the old man slowly began to lower his weapon, but just then, bang! He fired a shot toward the sound. It hit a ringing cell phone. Realizing it was nothing, he grunted and went back to handling the body. Watching him drag the corpse farther away, Rocky and Alex finally let out a shaky breath. They slipped down into the basement. It was huge and pitch black. They quickly turned on their phone flashlights and began searching for the exit. Meanwhile, upstairs, the old man, still dealing with the body, sensed that something wasn't right. He had just stepped out with his tools when a sour, musty smell hit his nose. Following the scent, he looked under a chair and found 2 pairs of shoes. He knew immediately that someone else was still in the house. He rushed to the safe. When he opened it and saw the money was gone, he was furious. In the basement, Rocky and Alex had been searching for a while before they discovered a hidden door. They stepped inside and found what looked like a small room. Alex noticed a light switch on the wall. As soon as he turned it on, a woman appeared behind Rocky, tied up and gagged, struggling and screaming for help. The sudden sight startled Rocky and left her shaken. At the same time, the old man upstairs also heard something coming from the basement. Downstairs, the woman saw Rocky and Alex. She dropped to her knees, clasped her hands together, and begged silently. Full of desperate hope, Rocky was frozen, unsure what to do. Alex urged her not to get involved and pulled her toward the door, but before they could leave, the woman grabbed a folded newspaper from behind her and held it out. Rocky glanced back. Seeing the woman's pitiful state, her heart softened. Ignoring Alex's protest, she stepped forward and gently took the newspaper. Unfolding it, she looked at the photo and realized with horror that the woman was the driver who had run over the old man's daughter. Just then, they heard a noise from upstairs. Footsteps were approaching fast. The woman suddenly pointed toward a nearby safe. Alex rushed over, entered the code, and opened it. Inside was a key. He grabbed the key, and the two quickly untied the woman. Together, they helped her up and made their way toward a side door. Soon, the 3 of them found an exit tunnel. Alex stepped up to the door and spotted a large padlock. He took out the key and unlocked it. The moment he pushed the door open, the old man was already there, aiming a gun at them. Before anyone could react, he pulled the trigger. A bullet whizzed past Alex's ear. He fired again. Several shots echoed through the tunnel. When the gunfire stopped, Alex was lucky, but the woman wasn't so lucky. One of the bullets had struck her in the face. They had been so close to escaping, only to lose someone in the final moment. Alex and Rocky panicked and ran in opposite directions. The old man came down the steps and approached the woman. As he walked, he slipped on a patch of blood. Kneeling beside her, he felt her body. She was limp and lifeless. Realizing who she was, he broke down, sobbing uncontrollably. Rocky and Alex, hiding nearby, stared in disbelief. Not understanding what was happening, the old man let out a furious scream and raised his gun in the air. He got up, relocked the exit door behind them, then walked over to the breaker switch and pulled it down. Everything went dark. The basement was pitch black. Rocky and Alex struggled to move in the darkness and quickly became separated. But the old man was different. Being blind, he was used to the dark. He moved by instinct, using only his senses to hunt them down. It didn't take long for him to catch Alex near one of the shelves. He raised the gun and pulled the trigger, but there were no bullets left. Alex shoved the shelf with all his strength, knocking it over and pinning the old man underneath. He then searched through the darkness, found Rocky, and followed a faint light coming from the basement stairs. Just as they reached the top, the guard dog outside began to stir. It had regained consciousness and was now snarling directly at them. As they hesitated, unsure what to do, they heard the basement door creak open behind them. The dog lunged. Thinking fast, Alex grabbed Rocky and sprinted toward the second floor. They reached a room and barricaded the door with a cabinet. Looking around, they spotted a window and tried to open it, only to discover metal bars bolted across it. Frustrated and out of options, Alex pulled out the remote, ready to call for help. Rocky stopped him. She didn't want to lose this unexpected fortune. Just then, a loud banging came from the door. Rocky looked up and spotted an air vent above her. Alex told her to go. He turned and rushed to barricade the door. They had just crawled into the vent when the old man burst through the door. The guard dog squeezed in first and immediately tackled Alex, knocking him off the second floor. He crashed down onto the glass rooftop of the balcony. Before he could react, the old man stepped forward and fired another shot. The bullet hit the glass. Alex lost his balance and fell. He slowly pushed himself up, reached into his pocket, and pulled out the remote to trigger the alarm. But before he could get to it, the old man was already chasing him down from the second floor. Alex ducked into a storage room. Inside, he bumped into a cabinet, and Money's body toppled out onto the floor. Hearing the noise, the old man headed in his direction. Alex looked up and saw a set of tools hanging above him. It was the only chance he had. The old man approached with the gun. Reaching out, Alex timed it right and knocked the weapon from his hand. The old man lunged and grabbed him. They wrestled, but Alex was no match. The old man slammed his head against the wall repeatedly, then threw him to the floor. He stepped forward and began punching him violently, releasing all his rage. Then, he grabbed a pair of scissors from the table. Alex saw the blade and shut his eyes in despair. Without hesitation, the old man stabbed downward. Meanwhile, Rocky had been crawling through the vent for what felt like forever. She finally spotted an exit and twisted her body around to kick it open. After several desperate kicks, the panel gave way. Just as she thought she was finally escaping, a pair of strong hands grabbed her from above and yanked her down. She hit the ground hard. The old man rushed forward, tore her backpack off, and tried to drag her away. Rocky struggled to flee, but he stomped down on her leg, then grabbed her and punched her across the face. After a few brutal hits, she lost consciousness. Sometime later, Rocky woke up. She was tightly bound, lying in the exact spot where the other woman had once been held. The old man sat silently across from her. Rocky begged him for mercy. She said she understood why he had done it. That woman had killed his daughter. He just wanted justice. She promised to stay silent if he let her go. At that moment, the old man finally spoke. He told her the woman had run over his daughter. The law couldn't touch her, but his daughter was dead, so the woman had to give him another child. She had been pregnant with his baby, and now, because of Rocky and the others, both lives were gone. So now, Rocky would have to take her place. She would have to give him a child. Rocky was on the verge of tears. Meanwhile, upstairs, Alex regained consciousness. It turned out the scissors had stabbed into Money's body instead of him. He picked up a hammer and slowly got to his feet. Just as he stepped out, the guard dog lunged at him. He quickly ducked behind the door. As the dog charged into the room, Alex slammed the door shut, locking it inside. He then made his way to the basement door. Downstairs, the old man had just finished dealing with the woman's body. He walked over to the safe, opened it, and pulled out a bottle filled with a white liquid. He placed it over a flame to heat. Then he returned to Rocky, who was now suspended in midair, panic all over her face. He told her that if she gave him a child, he would let her go in a few months. He picked up a pair of scissors from the table and began cutting open her pants. Rocky was still confused, unsure what was happening. After that, he turned away and walked over to the pot, picked up a syringe, and drew the heated white liquid into it. The moment Rocky saw what was in the syringe, she realized what he was trying to do. She begged him to stop. He ignored everything she said, holding one of her legs in place. He raised the syringe and prepared to inject. Just as Rocky squeezed her eyes shut in despair, a splash of blood hit her face. She opened her eyes to see Alex, swinging the hammer with full force, smashing it into the old man. Blow after blow, the old man collapsed to the ground. Alex freed Rocky and used the key to unlock her handcuffs. Then he cuffed the old man instead. Everything had happened so fast that Rocky could barely believe it. Once she gathered herself, she stood up and, without a word, began hitting the old man again and again, unleashing all her rage. Alex stepped in and pulled her back, trying to calm her down. Once Rocky finally settled, she grabbed the money from the chair, and together they left the basement. They were headed toward the front door. Just as Alex opened it, another twist hit. The old man had managed to break free and fired a shot. This time, it was fatal. Alex dropped to the ground, dead. Rocky screamed and took off running. By now, daylight had broken outside. She had barely gotten far when she stopped. The old man stepped out from the doorway behind her. Seeing him, Rocky began mocking him. Before she could finish, the guard dog burst out of the house, charging straight at her. Rocky turned and ran. The dog was right behind her. She reached the car and tried to climb in, but the dog jumped and clamped onto her backpack, refusing to let go. With no choice, Rocky slipped out of the backpack and dove into the car. After a brief standoff, she realized the dog wasn't going to leave. The money was still outside. That's when she came up with a plan. She tied a rope to the trunk, then opened it. The dog took the bait and jumped in. Rocky yanked the rope and slammed the trunk shut, locking the dog inside. With the dog handled, she picked up her backpack, but before she could take a breath, another shock came. The old man grabbed her from behind. Before she could react, he punched her and knocked her out cold. The old man dragged Rocky by the hair, forcing her back toward the house. Once inside, still unsure if she was truly down, he delivered another brutal blow. Only then did the old man finally feel safe enough to lock the door. Lying there, Rocky turned her head and saw Alex's lifeless body. Regret washed over her. She should have listened to him from the start. She was about to give up, ready to accept her fate, when she suddenly spotted the remote control for the alarm. Without hesitation, she sat up and pressed it. A piercing siren blared through the room. The sound was unbearable for the old man, whose heightened senses twisted in pain. The old man, overwhelmed, kept firing blindly until his bullets ran out. Just as he reloaded, the siren finally stopped, but so did Rocky right behind him. Before he could turn around, she smashed the rod down on him again and again until he dropped to the ground. Lying motionless, the old man no longer drew breath. Rocky slowly closed the basement door. She picked up the backpack and, before the police could arrive, slipped away into the early morning light. Later, at the airport, preparing to leave the city behind for good, Rocky glanced up at a news broadcast. 2 armed robbers break into veteran's home, leaving 2 dead. Elderly man survives with minor injuries. According to the report, nothing was stolen. Rocky didn't need to read the rest. She already knew why the old man hadn't turned her in. He wanted to buy her silence to keep everything that happened in that basement buried forever. She left the city for good, taking her sister with her. A new life waited ahead, and with that, the story came to an end.